members to ensure we have our quorum. Chuck,
Present.
Wes,
Here.
Roy,
Here.
and Randy, here. Okay, I'm now going to read the minutes from the prior meeting so that we can okay those and move ahead. I called the meeting to order at 5:29. The roll call showed all members in attendance. Others in attendance were Michelle Stuck, Edie Benner, Linda Clark, John True, Marianne Fabian. I read the minutes from the prior meeting. Wes motioned to approve. Chuck seconded. All yeas. Copies of minutes of meeting will be at village clerk's office, or residents can view on YouTube. To whom must reads notice of hearing submitted by Edie Benner for variance of 502.07 and 08 for a mural on a wall. Oma's asked Edie to be sworn in. Michelle swears in Edie. I asked Edie, what does she want to do? And she stated, put a mural on the old K&K wall. Question from village administrator, is the size 2,400 square feet and will year be corrected? And Edie stated the footage was an approximation and it will take the whole wall and the year would be fixed. BZA members went into executive session at 5:38, came out at 5:48. Roll call vote. Upon members present, all voted yes. Zoning variance granted unanimously. Edie thanked the people. Thomas is going to sign the paper and asked how to get others to sign it. BZA members agreed to come by the village office and sign. Talk among members if future things like this should go only to planning and not to BZA. John said we need to be careful how we go about that and to look to Michelle for guidance. Roy Peck asked about lowering the price so they did not have to pay $200. Nothing was decided. Motion to adjourn at 5:59 made by Roy. Chuck seconded. All yeas. Any corrections to the minutes?
No, motion to approve as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
This is Chuck. I'll second the approval of the minutes.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. This meeting is being recorded and copies will be available at the village clerk's office or on the website. It looks like we have nobody that needs to be sworn in at this meeting.
Just so you're aware, Dan Tillett's watching on YouTube. If you have any questions for him, or do you want me to send him the link for the meeting? Any input on that?
Does anybody have any questions for Dan about this?
I just don't, this is Roy. I don't see why he couldn't attend.
I would send him a link and leave it to his discretion.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me grab the link and send it to him.
I see Randy Usher chiming in now too.
Very good.
Hi, Randy.
We just started the meeting a few minutes ago. I'll mark you present now. And all we've done so far is approved minutes from the prior meeting.
Okay.
I'm just getting ready to read the notice of public hearing as per our agenda. And I think we may get Dan Tillett to sign in shortly. This was sent out Friday, August 21st of 2020, notice of public hearing. Village of Mantua. The Mantua Village Board of Zoning Appeals will hold a public meeting on an application for a variance relating to the property located at 10675 Main Street in the Village of Mantua. The meeting will be held via Zoom at 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. Meeting will be live streamed to the public via YouTube Live. This application, 21-2020, submitted by Dan Tillett of Restoration 44 LLC, requests a variance from provisions of Mantua Village Zoning Code. The applicant requests a variance from Schedule 450.09 of Village of Mantua Zoning Code regarding signs permitted in Village Center. Variance request is for allowing the painting of a mural on the side of a building, which exceeds the maximum area for a sign. Copies of this application are available for review at the Mantua Village Clerk Treasurer's Office during regular business hours. The opportunity to be heard will be afforded by any person attending the hearing. Okay. If Dan is listening in, at least, are there any questions from the village mayor, administrator, or from members of the Board of Zoning Appeals?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
I have none as well.
This is Chuck. I have none.
I have none.
Okay. I really don't know that it's necessary to go into executive session on this unless it's required. Michelle, can we just go through our resolution with everybody present?
Yeah, there's no reason to go into a separate session to deliberate. And just for a correction, it's not technically executive session, but it is, you are permitted to deliberate privately when you want to, but it's never required if you don't want to.
Okay. Any members of the Board of Zoning Appeals object to doing this in public?
I have no objection.
This is Chuck. No objection.
I have no objection. This is Randy.
Objection.
Okay. And I'll read the resolution here and then we'll go through the list of 8 normal questions that we always answer. Mantua Village Board of Zoning Appeals met on September 9th, 2020 to consider an application for variance relating to the property located at 10675 Main Street, Village of Mantua, in the Village Center zoning district, submitted by Restoration 44 LLC. The applicants request a variance from Mantua Zoning Code Schedule 450.09, maximum size of signs in the VC Zoning District 1. Applicants are proposing a mural of approximately 224 square feet on the existing north exterior wall of the structure. This board has considered the application, the attached exhibits, testimony of applicants, any sworn witnesses, and considered factors set forth in Mantua Village Zoning Code. Question 1, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there can be beneficial use of property without the variance. I'm assuming our answer is yes. All agreed?
Yes.
Yes, this is Chuck.
Okay. Whether the variance is substantial.
This is Chuck. This is Chuck. Based on the content that we see, I don't see it as substantial.
Are we in agreement on that?
Well, I would say that the size is substantial. I mean, it's just, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think it's going to be a great addition, but I would say that the answer is that it is substantial just based on the size alone.
Okay, I can concur with that. I'm always more concerned about the content, I guess, too, as well with that. So I agree though, Wes, with your comment.
Okay, I sort of think yes, also, because it is quite a bit larger than the 50 square feet allowed. And whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or whether adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment as a result of variance. And I think this would be an answer of yes and no, because it's sort of a two-part question. The neighborhood would be substantially altered for the better, and adjoining properties would not suffer any detriment, is the way I would want to state it.
This is Randy. I agree.
This is Wes, I agree.
This is Chuck, I agree.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of government services. I think that's a no.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
This is Chuck, I agree.
No.
Okay. Whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction. And I'll give them a lot of credit and say, yes, they knew that.
Obviously, or they would not be applying.
Yes, from Chuck.
Yes.
Whether property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some method other than a variance. And considering current legislation or ordinances, the answer to that is no.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
This is Chuck, I agree.
Whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance.
I'd say yes.
I agree with that.
I agree.
This is Chuck, I agree with yes.
Okay, and the last question, would the variance be the minimum necessary to alleviate the difficulty? I think that's a yes as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, there is a little footnote here explaining the maximum area of all signs attached to the building shall not be more than 1.5 square feet of signage per lineal foot of building frontage, up to a maximum of 50 square feet in the VC and C1 districts. So that's what we're considering granting an appeal here. So upon roll call vote of those members present, see, I'll go through this list here. I'm the first one on it, and I will vote yes to approve the BZA request. Chuck Engelhardt.
I'm a yes.
Okay. Wes Hawkins,
Yes.
Roy Peck,
Yes.
and Randy Usher.
yes,
Okay, so this the application for zoning variance from Mantua zoning code schedule 450.09 to permit a mural of approximately 224 square feet on an existing brick wall is hereby granted. Once again, I have my editorial comment that it's a shame that we have to charge people $200 to beautify the village and do something that's good for the village. And I really wish that somehow the administration would address that and not make it hard for people to do the right thing in the village, but maybe buy them even to paint or do something that shows the village is supportive of these efforts rather than simply saying, give us $200 and go to the BZA.
Well, I would like to see an exception for signs because they're pretty straightforward. You're not changing lot lines or doing anything like that. Now, why can't it just be some minimal amount to cover the village's expenses of having a meeting and checking things out? It seems like a lot less than a lot of BZA meetings require.
Right now, we have legislation in council 2020-30 that will help nonprofit organizations in waiving their fees. The $200 fee, they would have to pay that up front. If the variance is granted, then they would be reimbursed for anything but the cost of the mailings, the secretary's time and such. So that's what is before council at this time. Dan was made aware of that prior to this, if he wanted to wait until October for that to pass so that he could change who was applying for the sign. So.
Okay, well, that's,
So we are trying to work with the residents and the businesses in town, Thomas.
okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it is 5:46 and I call this meeting over. Nice talking to you guys.
Yep.
Take
Have a
care,
good night.
everyone. Thank you.
Take care.
Yep.
So the rest of us just get to wait until the next meeting. And I have no way of stopping the YouTube stream, so it's just going to be the YouTube stream sitting here with our happy faces waiting for the next meeting to start.
Can I, since I don't have to come to the next meeting, but I have to come to the one after that, can I just put my video, turn it off, but leave my icon up there?
Yeah,
All right.
Sure.
We don't need to see my face.
we do, but it's your choice.
Okay.
So Linda, I asked Matt to be ready to share screen on that letter from Todd Peets. He said, okay.
John, we got a letter or email from Todd Peets today. USDA is applying for a grant. They've reached out to the townships, Wyndham, Hiram, Garrettsville, to pass a motion of a letter of support for this grant that the match would be between $1,500 and $2,500 of in-kind to go for this grant, and it's due tomorrow.
What in-kind services, what in-kind towards what?
I'm really not sure. He just sent me a letter this afternoon, an email, and in service, Matt will share the email and the letter that he would like us by motion to approve.
Okay, just depending on what it is and what kind of in-kind services, as long as it's not cash, too much cash or.
It said no cash. It was in-kind services. If you want, I can get out of this and forward it to you.
Oh, I can do that. Hang on.
If you would forward it to him.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't real clear on exactly what he wanted to do or what they would be doing. Michelle may find out more tonight at her meeting.
Right, if you guys want to watch, it'll be broadcast on Garrettsville's Facebook page. You can find out what Todd has to say about it then.
You have to have Facebook to do that?
All you have to do is go to Garrett, just go to Facebook and search for Garrettsville Village, and it should be the first one up. I can probably find it for you if you really want to. Want me to get it?
No, that's fine.
too. Oh, hang on. Right.
Eric Dunn brought me up a zippy drive today. He's been scanning material. He says he has scanned since 1918 to the 1970s. All the minutes from all the meetings and any invoices that were down there for that time period.
Oh,
And so he says that we need to put it on a hard drive. He thought it would be my hard drive, and I thought it would be Jenny since she's the keeper of the records, right?
sure. That'd be
Mayor,
cool
I
to
just
have.
read-
a website.
I just read that email. Yeah, it's a rural communities planning grant, a workforce initiative. No, I don't see any problems. They often have these, and the planning department will sponsor it basically. And it's a workforce initiative with trails, interactive maps or something like that they can do for us for free. Shouldn't be too bad.
So maybe if I get if it's all right to get a motion from finance and one from service, that would encompass, that would still only be 5 of the members. I mean, since it's due tomorrow, I'll see what everybody says and just take the chance.
And it's kind of strange. Todd's a planner. What's he telling us the last day for?
He says that he emailed it to me on Friday, last Friday. And when he went and looked back, he missed me, but he had left me a phone message on Tuesday about it, Tuesday morning. And this was the first day I had a chance to get all my phone calls returned, so. Because he kept saying, well, I sent it to you, I sent it to you. And then when he looked, he said, nope, I didn't send it to you. There, Jenny's here now. Did I see Jenny's here? Jenny,
Yep, and Matt's here too.
yeah, I saw. Eric Dunn came to my office today, and he has scanned minutes and invoices, bills and such from 1918 to the 1970s. He wasn't sure of the last year. He wants to download those on somebody's hard drive. And I thought that since you're the keeper of the records, that it would have to be your computer that it gets downloaded on. Isn't that correct?
Do you know how much space it is? Like, could it be on a disk?
I'm not sure. I'm not somebody with more knowledge of all that stuff. Because, you know, it's on one of those little zip drives. And I said, isn't that good enough? And he said, well, you really need to have a backup on it. So I don't know. He was also asking about, he was going to start doing ordinances and such. And he said he couldn't find those books down at the service garage. And I said that more than likely those are all in the office downstairs. Do they go back that far downstairs? Do you know?
To 1918?
Yeah.
I think the 1940s, maybe.
Oh, so there has to be some somewhere else then, huh? I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, maybe he'll come across them at a later date. Hopefully he's marking all the boxes so that once we get all that stuff scanned, then we wouldn't have to keep the paper copies, right?
No, I think we would for like ordinances and
Well,
things.
for ordinance, but
Yeah.
I mean minutes and that kind of stuff, as long as we have them.
Minutes we have to keep too, paper copies.
Okay,
Invoices, no.
okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey.
Ben,
Hey, Ben.
Hey, everyone.
Matt.
Hey,
Hi, Matt.
Matt.
I was talking before, but I was muted, which happens a lot.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi, Ben. Hi, Paula. You're muted. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Oh, hello, Tammy.
I can't hear Tammy.
I can't either.
Uh-oh. Tammy, we can't hear you. Uh, uh,
On mine, the bottom left corner has a mute thing you can click.
Well, she has herself muted right now. Can you unmute so we can hear? Can you talk to me now? Still nothing.
nothing.
Maybe you have a volume button on your computer you could turn up. Nope.
Yeah. She'll be back.
Oops.
Sniveling little British. Okay, how about now?
I hear you.
Hey,
I just swapped computers.
Ben, I have 6 o'clock. Do you want to start the meeting?
I'll start the meeting, all right. It's September the 9th, 2020 at 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, Jenny.
Ben,
Here.
Matt,
Here.
Tammy.
Here.
All right. We have to nominate a finance chair.
I nominate Tammy.
I'll go along with that.
I was going to nominate you, Ben.
All right. That's fine, Tammy. All
Okay,
right.
I'll just call the vote and you tell me who you want. Tammy,
Ben,
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 Matt,
Tammy.
all right. Let's continue on. Do we have any citizens out there that want to chime in about anything?
Haven't seen anything yet. I'll let you know.
All right. We need to accept the minutes from the August financial meeting. Anybody got any questions about the financial meeting minutes?
No, sir.
All right. Let's move the financial meeting minutes to council. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
aye.
Aye.
Okay, Jenny, the financial reports.
okay. Our fund status is looking good. No adjustments to the cash summary. Our revenues were 254,747. We had that would include our municipal income tax was a big chunk, and then we also got a big check from the Portage County auditor. We also got the quarterly billing for the county sewer bill. So we had a couple of good payments this month. Payments for operating and payroll combined was 154,618. The credit card bills have not come yet, but based on the requisitions that I have, it looks like just normal spending, just typical stuff. We've got some office supplies and a couple of things here and there. Revenue is on track except for anything that coming from the license plates, like street, state highway, and permissive is still backed up a little bit. And it's the license money that hasn't come in yet. Next month is when the CDLs renew. So we usually get a good check in October. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Our appropriation status looks pretty good, and there were no adjustments on the bank reconciliation. Did anybody have any questions?
I don't.
I do not.
None for me.
All right, motion to move the finance report to council. Aye.
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 All right, moving on.
Oh,
to
wait a
leg-
minute, Ben. Somebody has to make a motion and somebody has to second it.
I make
I
a
made the
motion.
motion.
Okay.
I'll second you, Ben.
Thank you.
Okay, and you already voted aye, so that's good.
All right, moving on to legislation.
Did you look at the bills of resolution?
Oh, the bills of resolution, that's not on my agenda up here. Oh, yeah, it is too. All right, to the bills of resolution. Anybody got questions?
This is kind of an early meeting, so we don't have a lot of bills. And actually, after I sent this out, we got quite a few bills in the mail today. I'm just going to put them on the addendum list so we don't keep sending out list after list. So the addendum list is going to be probably heavier than usual.
All right, that's fine. Let me get right down here to these bills of resolutions. I'm going through the agenda right now. I'm a little slow. I'm getting old and slow. Here, boy, I forget how big this thing is. There's one question I had on the bills of resolution, and it's just wanting to know what it is. On this thing, number 16, it says controlled associations, ejectors, rebuild kit, nozzles, and shipping. What is that?
Well, I'm glad John's here. He can tell you. It's something to do with the water plant. That's all I know.
Yes, that's, remember that false alarm we got from that light going on and off? That was down to water plants for that nozzles and the kit to rebuild that light kit down there. That's what it was.
All right. I was just wondering about that. That's all. That's fine. Everything goes bad every now and then. All right, moving on to, moving the bills of resolution to council. Need a second.
I'll second it.
Aye.
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 All right, moving on to ordinances. Ordinances 2030, an ordinance amending chapter 504 of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Mantua relating to the authority of the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals to waive fees. Anybody got anything about that they want to talk about?
Well, we did put an ad in the paper for the public hearing to be before the October meeting. So this is third reading, so you're going to have to table it and then do the third reading. I mean, you can still discuss it if you need to, but you can't vote on it till after the public hearing.
I got something to say about that. When you take an oath of office as a council person, you're responsible for citizens' business, property, and finance. And I don't think we should give that authority to the Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals. I think this thing should come through council, but we're going to table it. I need a motion to table it. That's my opinion on it, folks.
Table it at council.
Right.
Go
And,
table
and Ben, we talked about it yesterday at planning, and we're tabling it tomorrow or next week too.
Good.
It'll pass on until the next month. Okay.
I don't think that we should abdicate our responsibility as a council people to do that. All right, I'm moving down here. I got another computer sitting over here moving through the agenda. Ordinance 2031, an ordinance amending chapter 610 of the zoning ordinance of the Village of Mantua relating to site plan reviews. Has anybody got any questions or thoughts on this? I do not. I've always thought that there was too much. When you do site plan reviews and you got to do plans and stuff, it costs money to do that kind of stuff. I've always thought we've had too many. I think now we have 14 plans that send out. I've got no problem with this site plan review stuff. Has anybody else got any comments on it?
Nope, I agree with you.
Ben, if I may, that's also going to have to be tabled because it's going to have a public hearing. So it'll have to go till next month.
All righty, we're going to have to table that. Fine.
Sorry, Mayor, I forgot about that one.
That's all right. You're new. You're going to have a hard time remembering everything for a while anyway. My mouse is not working good. All right, here we go. We got ordinance 2035. This is an ordinance for CT consultants for 49,000 and some dollars to do the plans, 49,500, do the plans, inspection and all of the West Prospect Street project. This is they're saying here, if I can get down, my cursor's not working really good, folks. Y'all gonna just have to bear with me. They're saying finalize construction drawings, produce contract document, and provide bid and construction administration and inspection for Prospect Street roadway and drainage improvement phase 2. I know we got a levy that's going to help with this, but when they I worked for CT for 18 years, and I processed these pay estimates and stuff. And on this pay estimate for OWPC, up at the very top of it is engineering for design, construction, easements, surveying, and inspection as part of the construction. So my only objection to this is if we're going to pay them $49,500 to do the same thing, and then they're going to fill out the pay estimate for OWPC, then that money up there for design and construction and stuff should go to the village because they've already done the survey. I was standing out there talking to Bobby. He did the survey. I know he's already done the survey, but that's my objection to this thing. And I know it's got to go to council. We can't vote on it, so
And if I could try and explain to you,
you can try.
the survey was done in phase 1. It is not included in phase 2.
They surveyed. I've known Bobby for over 20 years, and I talked to him when he came along right in front of my house here on the side on Prospect Street surveying.
Again, Ben, he surveyed it during phase 1. They are not resurveying.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. That's fine. That's fine, Linda. That's fine. I'm not going to
Well,
argue.
the way that I understood it was they did about like $6,000 or $7,000 worth of surveying already for phase 2 that might have like piggybacked on top of phase 1, and that was knocked off of the grand total, and what we're left with is the 49. That's the way I understood it.
Well, for 16 years, I process OWPC works for an EPA pay estimates, and they're going to file for that pay. They're going to file for that money again, but that's my objections to it. Motion to move this ordinance to council.
It's already there. The second reading.
All right. Ordinance 2020-39, a resolution accepting the amount and rates as determined by the Portage County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency. This is just a normal thing for the budget and stuff that we do every year that has to be sent to the auditor and they approve it. And Jenny is certified that we have the funds, so I don't have any problem with this either.
It's just a housekeeping thing.
Yeah.
We send our budget to the county the middle of the summer, and then by then they have an idea of how much we're going to get in taxes and local government funds and things like that. So that's all part of this, and that's what they come back with, and council has to approve it every year.
I've got no problem with it. We do it all the time, every year. So I need a motion to move it to council.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, moving on. Ordinance 2020-40. An ordinance authorizing certain adjustments to 2020 appropriation and declaring an emergency. The general fund amount, the $30,000 is to buy a chipper, and I assume that the cemetery funds is money that was gotten from the money that's in that
The trust.
That's to pay for Pinnacle to level the headstones.
Okay, yeah, okay. Is there any questions about this ordinance? Motion
Jenny, is that,
to-
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
is that for just the headstones, or was that for the mausoleum as well? Wasn't there going to be work on the mausoleum?
That's a different group. That's the Botsom Brothers, and they're going to put a new door on, and we already had that one covered. So
Okay.
this is just for the leveling the headstones.
Okay, thank you.
Jenny, if I can ask before Ben goes on, the way I read your legislation is we have the money in the cemetery fund already. It just hadn't been appropriated yet. It's not coming out of the general fund per se, correct?
Correct.
Yes, for the Pinnacle. Yeah, that's cemetery.
Okay, thank you. Well, Ben had said general fund. That's why I asked.
Well, I said wrong, damn it. There.
No, you said general fund for the chipper, but you
That's
said
what I
cemetery
was
for the,
saying. Yeah, but
you said cemetery for the 4,500.
yep,
Okay.
I know.
You
All
need a
right,
motion, council?
ordinance. Go ahead.
You need a motion to move it to council?
Motion to move it to council. I make
I
a
moved-
motion.
I make a motion to move it to council.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's moved to council.
Aye, I didn't get mine in there. I was muted. I couldn't get unmuted.
That's all right. We heard you. All right, moving on. Ordinance 2020-41, an ordinance appropriating funds to run the village of Mantua during the fiscal year ending December the 31st, 2021. This is the budget, and we've been over this and over this and over this and over this and over this. I don't know if anybody has any further questions about it. Do speak up.
Well, I would like to say that for the appropriations, I use the exact same numbers as we put in our budget. I sent John and Joe both copies of what their department budgets were, and they both agreed that we could just leave them as is for now, not make any changes. And throughout the year, we do change the appropriations when we need to, but there's just, everything is up in the air with the water and sewer, so there's no point in moving things around in those funds. So, I mean, if we don't have any changes, I'm not even sure that we have to have a workshop this year. I mean, it's the exact same numbers as council approved for the budget.
I agree. All right, a motion to move the ordinance to council.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, aye.
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 Aye. All right, moving on to resolution 2020-42, a resolution authorized transferred by the clerk treasurer between the water and sewer operating funds and their respective debt service reserve funds necessary to meet the 2021 debt service requirement. This is done every year too. This is a bookkeeping thing. You got to take the money over here, move it over there to pay the debt service. Anybody got any other questions?
I have a comment from the public that's relevant to this. The person who writes me an email says, it's my understanding that the loan for the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment plant will soon be paid off. Therefore, with no money being paid on those loans, will our water and wastewater bill be reduced, seeing we do not have to pay on the loans?
Well, the answer basically to that is the water plant's been paid off for a year or two or so now. And we only got about 1 or 2 more payments for the wastewater treatment plant, but the answer basically to that is no. We have to operate and maintain the plants. Those plants, every bit of the equipment down there has a service life on it, needs to be maintained and properly operated. So for right now, no.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Motion to move the ordinance to council.
I motion to move it to council.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, I'm slow, guys. I got to move to the next ordinance. I need a new cursor, guys. All right, resolution 2020-43. Adopting the calendar for 2021. We do this every year, this time of year. We don't, when the meetings are going to be held. And this is just a normal, everyday, every year thing. We do it every year.
The December meeting is the 21st, which is the week of Christmas. One year, and only 1 year that I remember, we did move the meeting back to the previous week.
We did.
We did, but I don't know if that would mess up planning. So it might be something to think about, or we'll just leave it.
This is just me being nitpicky, but do we need to put some language in here that covers if we meet remotely? I know it says here the regular meetings may be held at another time and location within the village, but do we need to be explicit and they could be held virtually or digitally?
You'll have to ask the lawyer for that.
What we do when there's a change of meetings, like we've done for these meetings, is we publish it. So this whole cycle of meetings that are occurring this way, we've published, I think, 2 different times to say which meetings are occurring in person, basically planning commission, and which ones are occurring by Zoom. So the default is meeting in person, but when we need to meet remotely like this, then it's been published in the newspaper and it's placed on the website for public notice.
Cool. But
Okay.
but just like, I'm just reading here like physical location, you know, I'm sure I'm just, you know, thinking about this weird, but you know, it's just, I'm thinking if we're meeting virtually, it just doesn't cover it. You know, it says village hall, another time and location within the village. Like, I'm just wondering if we need to put some language in here saying meeting virtually.
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
we are all in the village. We are all in the village of Mantua on council,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, sure. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm just making sure we're covered. That's all.
What's more important, Matt, is that we have the meeting sometime.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Can I jump in again? And this is with relation to the last question that was asked by the public. And Jenny may be able to tell us this best. The question is, what amount of money were we paying on the wastewater treatment plant loan as of right now? Is that just double what's in the legislation, or is it some other amount?
And what we're paying on it is what is in that legislation. It's about 340 some thousand a year.
Okay.
How many more years do we have?
That's
Jen?
for the sewer plant. 2.
2 years?
Yeah, it's paid off in 2023. So we'll have one more payment this year and then the next 2 years.
So we still owe a little over $600,000.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, motion to move the ordinance to council.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, ordinance 2020-44, an ordinance acknowledging the inability of the village of Mantua to provide sanitary sewer service to the Bent Tree Condominium Association permitted Portage County to provide the service pursuant to the terms and existing sanitary sewer service area agreement and declaring an emergency. I have one question about this. The line, the sewer line coming down 44 that's picking up the Bent Tree Condominium Association, does that belong to the county or does it belong to the village?
County,
County?
yes, sir.
Okay. Then I've got no problem with this. If it belongs to the county, fine. If it doesn't, then I got a lot of issues with this. But if it's the county line, I'm fine with it. Although the county's tap-in fee is a lot more than ours. Anybody else got any questions about this?
Mm-mm.
No.
All right, motion to move it to council.
I'll make a motion to move it to council.
Second.
Second. If all in favor, say aye.
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 Moving on. Oh, wait a minute here. I'm gonna buy me a new cursor. Okay. All right, resolution 2020-45, a resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the Portage County Commission related to proposed amendments to the ordinance 2019-4, the Mantua Village Council of the Portage County Water and Sanitary Sewer System Transfer Agreement and declaring an emergency. Does anybody got anything to say? I'm not going to read this whole thing. This would take the next half hour to read it. I hope everybody read it. Does anybody got any questions about it? I haven't changed. I will let y'all know that I haven't. I read it. I've read it twice, and I haven't changed my mind about this thing, and I'm not in agreement with it whatsoever. So it's up to you guys. You can do what you please with it.
Mayor, have we gotten, I haven't seen, is there a total of what the village residents would pay? As in, is there at $7 million, the village residents would be done paying the county, or is there a time frame? I have not seen that in writing anywhere, and I probably just missed it.
Have you seen the addendums? The addendums go from A to T. I haven't seen them either.
Michelle? You want me to do this, or you or John want to do this?
I'll leave it up to you guys because I have to leave soon.
Okay. Tammy, to answer your question, there would be two charges combined. One would be your regular water fee every month, and then the other one is your surcharge. A year ago, the actual water and sewer water payment would be $67 and some odd cents. The surcharge at that time was 87 something and change. Now we are anticipating, after they go through and do all the EBUs, and that they'll determine, they're thinking that the surcharge will drop from the 87 to about $60 a month.
Okay.
So, and they're anticipating for every $1 million worth of grants that they apply for and receive and complete the work, that the needs list, which is about $10 million, would drop, about $7 per month for a customer. So that let's say $125 after they complete the first $1 million and have the work done would drop, that payment would drop by $7.
However,
but my question is, for how long? For 10
40
years?
years. 40 years. And there's another little thing in there. If you read, I read it twice, as a matter of fact. There's another thing in there not long into it that says that they can increase it every year 3%, that surcharge. And then it's a real funny thing to me also is that the whole premise of this thing began with the fact that we couldn't operate and maintain the plants, that couldn't afford it. But then we give it to the county, and the county turns around and tells us that we are going to operate it, maintain it, and pay for it. And then too, there's nothing in that contract that says that the county is paying us for the property. They identified needs list is about $12 million. So the equipment in there, we know is that, and the plants and the buildings are worth something and the land's worth something. We didn't get anything for that. We're giving that away free. That's ridiculous. And then too, we got all those water lines and the pump stations and the boost pump stations and the water lines going out. No contractor did that for free. So this village has paid for a lot of that stuff, and we're just giving it away free. It make no sense at all to me. Anyway, that's my opinion on it. This contract is nothing but for the county. It has nothing to do with the village. All right. I have to ask for a motion to move it to council. And I'm not going to make it because I'm not going to vote for it.
So moved.
Read your last piece of legislation, Ben.
Do what?
Since you didn't make a motion to send it to council, go ahead and read your next piece of legislation.
I'm not going to read that legislation. It'll take 30 minutes to read that.
I said, read the next piece, the last one, 2020-46.
All right. We didn't get a second, so it's not going to council right now. All right, 46. I need a new cursor. Hang on, I'm getting there. One long thing. 45 again, still. Gee. Well, hang on, folks. I need a new cursor. All right, here we go. Ordinance 2020-46. An ordinance authorizing renewal of the agreement for the use of a portion of the Gerald Booker Park Lodge by the American Legion Post. I've read this and I've got no problems with this. If anybody's got an issue with it, speak up.
No, sir.
Tammy?
Nope, I have no issue with it.
All right, a motion to move it to council.
I move,
what-
I
what?
move, move it.
Someone has something? You got something to say, Mary?
When you're done with that piece of legislation, I'd like to tell you something.
All right, motion to move this 2020-46 to council.
Amy moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Just so finance is not feeling blindsided, this 2020-45 that finance is not sending to council has already been on, it's on services agenda, and it would have been on services agenda had their meeting been prior to yours. So they may send it to council, just so you guys are aware.
And Mayor, if I may, without the MOU, then that entire agreement stands as is without the MOU. And that would be the 89 versus a 59. Why would you want to charge people more when we've negotiated a better MOU if indeed it passes?
That's a joke too, Drew.
That's your opinion. I
know that's my opinion. And that is my opinion. We're giving like $18 million to them for free. And then we're going to pay, we can't afford to operate and maintain it, but we're going to pay for it anyway. That's a joke. All right. That was the last ordinance. My goodness, we're doing good, folks.
I have some more comments. I'm sorry. Before I leave, our member of the public asks, once that loan is paid in full, will we be able to reduce our wastewater and wastewater treatment plant operators the going rate so we can obtain our own wastewater treatment plant operators instead of hiring a company to do it for us? And the other comment is transfer what? So I'm not in a position to explain this. Let me just copy this and put this comment to you in writing to make it easier for you to answer.
Michelle, our packet's on the website, right? So
It
if
is
somebody
on the
wanted to
website.
read the transfer agreement, they could actually just open our packet and read that. They'd have that information. And as far as the operators, we actually could afford to pay our own operators now, but when we put the ad out, evidently we didn't have the correct people apply, or not enough people applied. We just haven't had any luck hiring, but we could actually easily afford that now.
Nobody qualified applied.
But yes, no one qualified is going to apply until this referendum is decided.
Right.
I don't buy that either.
All right. I'm afraid I have to go. I've made Matt, Lucky Matt, the host. And if I get any emails when I get out of my car in Garrettsville, I'm going to forward them to Matt unless somebody else wants to volunteer to field emails. Anybody? Anybody?
Matt'll do fine.
Okay.
We're almost done anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
we've gotten through everything just about.
We got service next time.
I'm trying to get up to the agenda and see what we got. I'm getting past the bills of resolution. And
Discussions, Ben, if there's anything new, and Matt and I have something new.
well, speak to it.
We received an email from Todd Peets from Regional Planning. There's a USDA grant out there. John True can explain it a little more. And it's due tomorrow. So they need a letter of support from the village. And I know that we can't vote per se because council isn't until next week. But I thought if everybody read the letter that he wants us to put on our letterhead, that possibly you could give me a nod to go ahead and do it or not do it.
What is the percentage? How much, what kind of percentage is this? Is it 90, 10, 80, 40 or whatever? What is, do you have any idea?
Well, yes, in the letter, it's not going to be any cash. It's going to be all in kind, and it's going to be with Wyndham, Garrettsville, Hiram, and the Shaleysville townships, Wyndham townships would all, apparently they've all been asked to consider. I know that Hiram has signed on to do it, and Wyndham has. Garrettsville's voting tonight. Since our meeting is after the deadline, that's why they were asking us, but they were saying in kind would be $1,500 to $2,500, and they would also need to have 3 representatives to go from the village to be on the steering committee for it. John, can you explain more of exactly what the grant does, please?
Yeah, it's a collaborative workforce initiative. Through this grant, they'll do a planning and they'll try to establish goals that we reach through communities and the workforce planning, and try to put things together to make a better quality of life through the trails, and then maybe possibly some jobs or workforce training for individuals also through this grant. This grant comes around every few years and for communities throughout the county.
I've got no problem with this thing.
I was just going to mention, it appears that there is a split. It's an 85-15 with the 15 that we'd have to contribute being in, basically committee time. So.
And Jenny, do we have an issue with paying the $1,500 to $2,500? Do we have that appropriated anywhere?
Well, if it's in kind, then it's actually just hours. It's not really cash.
Yep,
that's true.
I'm good.
I don't know. Do we need a motion to move this to council?
Well, Ben, I'm only asking for a nod that you have no problem with.
Yeah, I've got no problem with it.
responding. I'll see what service says when I get there also.
That's fine. Let's do that. I got no problem with this. Is there any other new or other business? Matt, Tammy,
I don't have
John,
anything.
Scott?
Nope, I'm good right now. Thanks.
Okay, if there's no other, me, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, aye. Aye.
Hi.
You guys have a good evening.
You
Enjoy
too.
yourself. Make sure you have a little fun every now and then.
Okay.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Take care.
See you next week.
Be safe.
Mary Ann back on yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Mary Ann.
Hello. I never really left. I just pretended to be away.
Hi, Scott. Hey, Marianne.
Hi, Matt. Hey, Paula. Hello, Rich.
Evening, everyone.
Hey, Rich. How you doing, man?
We ready to go, Mayor?
Wherever you are.
Okay, I'll call this meeting.
I'm sorry, just so everybody's aware, the Bent Tree Condo Association members were invited to attend this meeting in case you had questions of them.
Who's the guy that's sitting under the deer?
That's my,
Hello, John.
Hey, this is Mike Zemesnik.
Hi, Mike.
And of course you can see John.
Good evening. Good evening. All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 6:44. Roll call. Everybody here? Matt's here, Paula's here.
Hi, Paula.
Hello.
Can I have a motion to approve last month's minutes, please?
I had one question. I know I was not at that meeting, but
Okay.
where was it? Oh, on the second page, the top of it, the second sentence down, we have a purchase order that has already been approved a few years ago. John True will get together with Jenny to make sure the PO is still good. John Clark said that they are going to try to use the old jam. Was John Clark in attendance?
I don't think John was in attendance, was he?
He wasn't on the front. That's why I questioned that.
No, but didn't John meet with Barkey?
John met with Barkey and he also met
Okay.
with the company, what was their name? Bossaman, the people that are going to be doing the door. John met with them.
Yeah.
Up there since I was not able to get up there.
Yeah, so that was just relayed, Paula. He wasn't at the
Relayed,
meeting, but he relayed the information to us. So.
Okay, thank you.
Botsman, wasn't that it?
Botsman, yes.
Botsman. Okay.
And as far as John checking on the old PO, Paula, the trust had given us, I think, around $4,000, maybe $5,000 back in 2014 for the doors.
Yeah.
And they never got done. That's why we finally went with another company so we can finally get it done and behind us.
Very good.
So does anyone want to make a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. Matt, I wasn't sure if you were muted or not.
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties here.
Gotcha. Okay, do we have any citizens out there, Matt?
Oh, let's see here.
With any questions before we start?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Good. Yep.
John, village administrators report?
Yeah, I just have a couple verbally. We've had some issues with the EPA as far as the asset management and so forth. I did meet with them last week. We did get most of them resolved. I have to finish a 3-page report, and that'll satisfy most of their needs. Everything else can get pushed to the first of the year. It's called a sanitary survey, which they would come down and look at all of our plants, et cetera. So they're going to wait till after November 3rd. We'll talk again after that date to the EPA. So Beth is okay with that. And then on another issue, we've had some problems at some of the pump stations. Don Feller's doing a great job keeping them together, but we've had some issues. So we may have to rebuild a pump on High Street. He's doing pieces and parts and keeping it salvaged right now, but that was still the jury's still out on that piece of part. It has a flute, it comes up and it's underwater. So it's been in there for quite a few years. It's past its useful life. So we may have to replace a pump, but we're gonna try to rebuild it first.
Okay.
There's dual pumps in there. And when you try to get it on a SCADA, they're one's supposed to operate another. Now only one of them is operating. So we'll continue to talk to Don and I'll let you know, update as we go forward on that.
Okay. Any word on the chipper?
Here,
We have it.
Oh,
It's
great.
here, and they used it this week.
they
You
love
didn't
it.
have to go pick it up, huh?
Nope.
Good. Good, good. Is that it, John?
That's all, yes, for now.
Okay. Okay. Ordinance 2020-44. Matt, do you want to have to go through these again, or do you want to check out since you just listened to all these?
Oh, no, I'm good. Go right ahead.
Okay. An ordinance acknowledging the inability of the Village of Mantua to provide sanitary sewer service to the Bentry Condominium Association, permitting Portage County to provide the service pursuant to the terms of the existing sanitary sewer service area agreement and declaring an emergency. Gentlemen, would you like to give us your input?
You want me to go first, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead. I was just taking myself off mute, but I'll wait. You go first and
Okay.
we'll
The
chime.
Bentry Association contacted the village to tie into our sanitary sewer because the EPA will not renew their permit any longer. There's been some issues with it and they don't want them to rebuild it. They want them to tie in. We do not have a line that goes close enough to them to supply. We don't have the money to put a line in. So we contacted the county and the county is willing to take them on as a customer on their force main on Main Street. They would have to pay the tap-in fee to the county. We would get revenues from the sewer that we still have our water that we get from them, we sell them, and we would get a stipend, so to speak, on the sewer that we process from them like we do Aurora Meadows. So we have that. If the county were to take over the plants, and that would happen at the beginning of the year, then Bentry would still tie into them, but even though they would be a county customer, they would be paying the same surcharge as any of our regular customers. So.
Okay.
And this did go to finance also because it was going to just come to service, but since finance met before you, we didn't want them to think we were trying to pull the wool over their eyes to go around them. And since their meeting was prior to this one, we put it on their agenda also.
Okay.
So we received a letter from the county that addresses every unit there, 14 units. And it shows that they want, in their letter from the county, for instance, a $4,300 tap-in fee from to pay Manaway, and another 4,300 or 100 to pay the county, 2 tap-in fees. So we have this double tap-in feed of a total for all 14 units of 118,000. So that's why there's no way that the owners up there can afford that divided by 14. And the sewer plant that's up there is either we got to go against the EPA, I say, that put tanks in, which is probably not real good because we'll get fined, or tie into the forced main going west of the condos right up 44. It goes up State Route 44 there, and pay 1 tap-in fee instead of 2 tap-in fees to 2 different people. So the letter I have from the county here is showing 2 different tap-in fees, and that's how we started talking to the mayor about this. And John True, Graham talked to John, and we've talked to the gentleman in the county, I can't think of his name right now, for a year and a half. We've been negotiating, trying to get this resolved and create we'll call it a trash pump down there, a collection station, and pump it up into the forced main. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to say that's where we're at right now. And our permit to operate expires in November. That plant that sits behind us.
So when you mentioned it was 181,000?
118,000. That was a problem. For 1 line to tap in, 118,000.
But they're multiplying that times the number of units. In other words, you gave us 4,300 and 4,300. 4,300 for village, 4,300 for the county, roughly.
Basically.
And then by multiply that 8,600 times the 14 units, they're charging you per unit. Okay. That's what I was trying, but you're only tapping in once.
We're only tapping in once with 1 pipe. 2-inch line. A 2-inch line.
Boy.
Seems a little absurd, you know?
So instead they're gonna end up charging you 4,300 for the county's tap in times 14.
There's like a sliding scale, you know, based on a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. It differs a little bit depending on how many bedrooms you have at each condo. But on an average, let's just say it's 4,300 for it.
That's, yeah. Ooh.
Wow.
And Paula, we can release them. It's in our service agreement that we can release them even though they're in our service area so that they don't have to pay us a tap-in fee. And that's why it's coming to council. They don't have to pay a tap-in fee to the village. They'd only pay 1 tap-in fee to the county and become a county customer in our sewer district.
Yeah, but that's 1 tap-in fee
times
4,300 times 14.
Right, it's still going to be $60,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, but it's a lot less painful.
Yes.
That's
And
pretty
they will also let them go on, I think it's a 10-year payment plan with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if let's say a merger, for the lack of a better word, goes through at the end of the year or November, would they waive that fee? Would the county waive the tap-in, or it's going to be a tap-in regardless of 14 customers?
It's a tap-in regardless. They're going to get that tap-in fee. You know, there's not going to be any tap-in fee waived.
Okay.
Don't we get the tap-in fee because it's north of the village? South of the village went to the county, north of the village went to the village. Isn't that how I understood it?
They are in our sewer district, so they should be our customer, but we don't have a line to provide them with a service. And we don't have the funds to put that line in. In most cases, we could assess their taxes if they were within the village limits. Even though they're our customer, they're outside the village limits, so we can't assess their taxes. So that's not an option.
I'm in favor of waiving our part of the tap-in fee.
Well, we have to reject them as a customer and let the county have them.
Yeah,
Oh, so you want us to fail this?
No,
Oh,
we want to pass this so that if.
Can I jump in for a second, please?
Once
Okay.
you have a chance to read the whole legislation, it says that we are giving them,
the right to tap into the county's line.
yes.
Okay.
John, can I have John talk to you for a second?
Okay, John, could you speak to this and let everybody know exactly how that works? The fact that you don't have a line that far, and that it would be the village's expenses and no assessments and so on. Can you explain that so everybody knows that this is the right way to go?
Yes, if it doesn't, it could cost us millions of dollars because we'd have to bring a line from our latest all the way up to there so they could tap in. And that's what would happen if the EPA would make us do it at our expense. And that's the way they would do it, such as they made the county do for the meadows and so forth. But like Mayor said, they're not in our jurisdiction. We have no authority to assess them. So we'd have to eat that cost, in fact, if we had to run a line there. So this makes much more sense, both for the property owners and for us. I did talk to Mr. Graham on the side, the property owners wouldn't be as many and have to walk away for some mortgages if they had to pay double fees. It would just be too expensive.
well, tonight we just need to send this up to council, Mayor. Is that what?
Well, finance already did send it, but it would be nice if you guys would send it also.
Well, I'll definitely make a motion that we send it to
Scott,
council.
Scott, may I just point out one thing?
Sure, yeah.
I did a chat to everyone pointing out that the county already owns capacity in the plant. They already paid the village a tap-in fee.
Right.
And they have capacity, reserve capacity they've already paid for. So the agreement, albeit this is in the village's service area, the village has no line to service it.
Right.
From my perspective, being objective, they're merely a county customer within our service area because we have no ability to service them.
Mm-hmm.
They become a village customer. And they pay the county a tap-in fee because the county's tap-in fee is already paid for. The capacity, they bought 75,000 gallons in the plant.
Right, right.
So that the count, I'm not quite understanding why there would be two charges. I'm just.
Yeah, I guess I was a little confused.
I might have missed
about
something, but it doesn't make sense.
There's a court case in reference to this. There was a court case that's not a precedent. If you remember, there was a funeral home up north.
Oh.
And they had to pay twice. That's all they had for the similar situation. So that's why they started the negotiation as such. And we worked through this, finding out it's not necessarily precedential and the correct move for the individual properties and us as a village.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
So you had a motion on the floor, Scott?
I will definitely make the motion to send that to council.
Second.
Thank you.
So I think that's all ayes then.
Pardon me?
I think since you had 2 seconds to that, that's all ayes.
Yeah, that's
We're all
all.
supported.
The ayes have it.
Yeah.
Yes, the ayes have
Really,
it.
really quick, I was forwarded a question here from a resident that's sort of on topic. I like to ask so this person can get their answer. Where are we advertising the position for the wastewater treatment plant operator? Like places like Indeed, et cetera?
It's been in the newspaper, it's on our website, and it's also on OWDA, where licensed operators have access to, and it's on one other website. I can't remember the acronym for it. So it is out there, and it's out there indefinitely till we cancel it.
Very good, thank you.
So, gentlemen, you guys can check out if you want. We're going to send it to council and you can zoom in on Tuesday, Tuesday night.
Okay, we'll be there Tuesday night.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thanks for
Yeah.
doing that.
I don't think it should be a problem, but it would
Okay,
be nice if you guys were there just in case there's any questions.
we'll be there. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, good. That was a little confusing why we were going to get a tap-in fee. Okay, moving on. Resolution 2020-45, a resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the Portage County Commissioners relating the proposed amendments to the ordinance 2019-49, the Village of Mantua, County of Portage Water and Sanitary Sewer System Transfer Agreement, and declaring an emergency. Linda, would you like to give us a little input?
Okay, what this is we've been working with the county to come up, with changes to the agreement that we had last year that the referendum was filed on. What this does is outline the changes that both sides are willing to make if on November 3rd, the voters vote so for the plants to go to the county. And there's not a lot of them, but once you read when you have time to read the legislation over the weekend, it's separated enough. But excuse me, there are different areas. Instead of just doing a flat surcharge of like that 87.69 or whatever it was last year, it's going to be based on UBEs. Is that the right?
EBUs.
EBUs. And I'm going to let you explain the rest of it because even though I understand it, I know I won't explain it correctly. You and Matt.
In an effort to be more practical and also affordable to all the residents, and especially the lower income ones in Mantua, which was a part of the referendum, we did address it, and that's how we address it through EBUs. Therefore, we don't have 500 customers. We're going to have close to 700 customers because you're stretching it out. Each EBU will still be based on the Green Book effort as if they were water or sewer taps, and that by how many, say, apartment buildings or a duplex, triplex, twinplex, and then single family unit would be one EBU. The others would be 1.2, 1.4. There is a whole list of those in the MOU and in the also the agreement. And thus what it does, it takes that general assessment or surcharge, not assessment, the surcharge, it brings it down from 86.79 to 50, I believe it's 59.25 right now, and that still may come down farther once we do. We have to finalize some of the EBUs, which means we have about 13 or 14 commercial properties, and we've got to do a walk through each of those just to see what size water meters, sewers, etc. And we'll complete that within a couple weeks here on that portion of it. And the rest of the issues were some minor issues, such as an employee that we were going to have to go to the county, and now we're not. We're not going to have an employee go there. That employee is no longer with us. And then most of the rest of it is pretty self-explanatory unless you have questions.
So this is saying that if the referendum fails in November, the county has agreed to accept all these meetings.
Not at all. Let me correct you. Sorry.
Okay.
After you saying the referendum fails, after the voters choose to transfer the plants, then this will be attached as an MOU after that. So by approving the plants, that takes down the referendum.
Okay.
By the voters voting yes to allow 2019-49 to stand, if they vote yes, and at that point they're saying that they accept the $87 surcharge. And then this MOU, we are saying that we recognize that if the voters say, yes, they want to accept 2019-49 and go with the $87, $86, whatever it was, surcharge, then the MOU can be activated and bring that down based on the agreements that have transpired.
Okay.
But the one big issue is going to be, how do you go about convincing the residents? This is September. We've got October. It's going to be a contentious election anyways, voting period. People are already voting ahead of time. How are you going to be informing them that the MOU is out there and we want them to vote for it so we can activate this? So my question to the second part of it would be, is there a backup plan if the voters say no, they don't go along with 2019-49 with that agreement at all? What is our plan B?
Plan B would be what we're doing now. We fly by the seat of our pants and try to get through it. But plan B is right now is going to be a very, very hard option because we can't do any improvements because we don't have any money.
Right, but how then? Because have you brought that up with the county to say, look, if the residents don't pass the don't go along with the 2019-49 and allow it to take effect, if the voters say no to that, have you brought up with the county and said, look, we know we've come to different agreements because we've got the MOU in place. Are you willing then to go forward and let us draft another ordinance that authorizes us to to come to the same type of deal with the MOU statements in it? So we're replacing and creating a whole new ordinance.
We tried to do that. When we were negotiating, we were trying to do that and we couldn't agree. They were backsliding on a lot and going in other positions. We tried that already and they would not.
Well, what kind of other positions were they going at?
Paula, we did discuss doing a new ordinance with this new MOU, like right now, okay? And passing it right now, and putting it in place. And that would void the 2019-49. But if people were still unhappy with the new MOU agreement, they could do another referendum. And we'd be waiting a whole year.
Yeah, but if they don't vote and accept the 2019-49, we're no place.
We are planning on holding a public meeting, probably the end of this month. And we're going to make sure that we put it on every avenue to advertise that it's out there. We'll probably have it down at the park. Hopefully it doesn't rain so that we can try and answer everyone's questions.
I think it's a dangerous tactic you're using. We're looking for. You know, the MOU and the renegotiations have done a good job of coming up with a reasonable plan. But our approach is dangerous. Getting the voters to say yes is dangerous.
Or no, because we don't know how it's going to be worded on the ballot.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
I kind of see where Paul is going though. I mean, if they keep, I would be afraid that a lot of people are just going to look at 2019-49 and not at, let's say, 2020-45. I mean, we're looking at this at the MOU. We know what kind of work you guys have put in. We know what kind of changes you've made. But I still think with that ordinance 2019-49, if that is going to be on the ballot, that's what's going to, those people who don't show up for a public meeting, that's what they're going to see. And they're going to know that that's what we tried passing the first time. They're not going to know about the MOU.
You're not gonna know about this one that's gonna change 2019-49.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to know that you guys have hashed out a lot of things and cut the price and, you know, got the, yeah, I'm a little concerned too that.
I think you only had a few naysayers in the beginning anyways. So fortunately, the other ones understand what's going on here. And there is a group that is allowed to, we're not allowed to politically and work for this. But however, there's a group in the back scenes, and they were actually on the committee with the MOU this time.
Right.
And were most of the ones that circulated petitions. So they are on board now also. And
Ted's
we're
the
gonna
only
count
one
them.
that circulated the petition. That was also on the renegotiation team. So, you know, don't say they were mostly.
So you're saying Ted didn't represent, we thought Ted represented that group.
Ted represented the ad hoc committee. And the former mayor and her husband reached out to Ted to say, hey, you're a friend of ours. Why don't you come along and help us with this referendum so we can get a better deal or whatever. I don't know what they were talking about, but so Ted was part of the ad hoc. The ad hoc committee was not part of the referendum.
Right.
Separate them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, leaning on Ted and the ad hoc committee to kind of evangelize this over the next couple months. We could work with them. I just want to recognize Ted for just doing a great job and really, kind of spearheading, the initiative from the resident standpoint and being on the calls and getting involved. So I just want to recognize Ted for that. But if anybody has any questions, feel free. I hate to speak for Ted, but feel free to reach out to Ted. I'm sure he'd be glad to talk to you about it. But maybe we can lean on that group to help evangelize it, if possible.
You mean the ad hoc group?
Ad hoc, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Well, Linda, the public meeting you want to have, would the county be there? Would Gene be there or?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, if there was a ton of questions, which, there will be, I mean, between you and him and John and Ted, I mean, you'd have all the bases covered. I would just, if everybody would show up, that's a great idea,
Well, actually, all of council will be invited to sit there also.
Right, but
as well as Ted.
It seems like the four of you have, put in the hours. So, and Rich, I'm sorry, Rich, I didn't mean to leave you out of that, but.
It's a scary proposition.
It is, because Michelle says we can't go out door to door. We as elected officials can't go out door to door to do it, but we can hold a public meeting and answer questions.
I mean, just the thought of going forward with this instead of going forward with a replacement, saying, hey, there's been better negotiations. We have a new ordinance in place, and take the chance that that somebody decided to say, oh, wait a minute, I want a referendum on that. And you yourself are saying that there was only a small group, John's words. I don't know, but it's there. This is the way you've decided to move forward, so fine.
Well, I guess, we're just gonna have to make the best of this and.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we move this up to council if that's what we need.
I'll second it.
Okay. All ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any idea of a meeting time, Mayor? or a meeting date? I mean, have you given it any thought with everybody involved?
When I get back from vacation,
Okay.
because I'm not gonna work on it on vacation this year like I did last year.
No. I do
No
not blame you.
Thursdays. I got bowling.
No. When was the last meeting with the county?
On the 4th.
The 4th? And you were, Matt, were you able to be there?
Yes.
Good,
Yep. Went well.
good. Okay, moving on. Ordinance 2020-46, an ordinance authorizing the renewal of the agreement for the use of a portion of Gerald Booker Park Lodge by the American Legion Post 193. Any questions?
That's just renewing their lease.
Right.
That's a 10-year lease.
Yep. Anyone have any questions, any comments? Does anyone want to make a motion to kick it up to council?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All ayes? Aye.
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 Great. Okay. New business. COVID-19 state funds we received. What do we need to do? What do we need?
Joe has been buying a lot of things.
Right.
One of the things that was recommended to me today was to get an overhead scanner so that if somebody comes into Mary Ann and wants to give her something, they can scan it so she doesn't have to touch their paper. And that's an eligible expense. Plus it could be used to scan other things that we have.
That's not a bad idea.
And also, Dave, have you told Dave to go ahead and order that sprayer, John?
Yes, I was talking to Joe too, making sure we didn't duplicate what we were ordering.
What were you getting?
He had a backpack sprayer. I think it was gas, wasn't it? And it was, I don't remember the name brand, but it was like $720.
Okay. To
So
spray disinfectant?
Yes.
Okay. Great. And Matt, I saw what you brought from the fire department, or what you
Yes.
sent from the fire department.
Yes, I was going to comment on that.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yep. So I, just to catch everybody up there, the chief had a few things on there that were questioned, and he had some, I guess correspondence from the manufacturers saying they were COVID approved and things like that. And there's still some question about if they were, going to be, allowed. So what I asked them to go ahead and do was to see about contacting the auditor and getting maybe some type of pre-approval about the things that he wanted, just to make sure that we were good ahead of time. And I'll have to go back and see where he's at on that. But no, it's something he was working on. So
okay.
That's where we are there.
Okay.
I believe I'll be there on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for that? Joe's just kind of taking care of that, right, Mayor?
Him and John, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And just so everybody's aware, we did find out from Janet Esposito that it was my understanding we had until the end of the year to make these purchases. We only have until October 15th to turn in all of our orders. We don't necessarily have to have everything, but we have to have our POs by the 15th of October. And then till the end of the year to get everything all wrapped up, because they want any excess money back so they can reallocate it.
Okay. What was the date, Linda? October what?
15th.
Wow.
Originally, we had been told December. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. Rich, it's all you. The reservoir tank replacement?
Okay. Evening, everyone. Hi, Mayor. So, I tried to consolidate the history of this, but let me share screen. So, particularly for, I think for Matt, so I can show a little bit of the history of the project. So, in front of you was the preliminary layout and design for the new tank, 42 foot in diameter, 20 foot high. To give you some bearings on this, where my hand is, this is Reservoir Drive, and north is straight up. The booster station building you see here at the bottom of the photograph, and the existing reservoir is here in the lower left-hand corner. The intent of the location of the tank was to shift it far enough so that for constructability to allow the reservoir to remain in service during construction. The village property is right here. So we prepared this site map for discussion with the property owner who rejected the location as a permanent structure and a permanent easement. We also had provide a photographic rendering of what this stainless steel aqua store blue tank would look like with the geodesic dome on the site. So there, here to the left, you see the existing booster station, and the reservoir is an at-grade reservoir back here. You can't see in this picture. So we did a rendering here. So with that not working successfully, other than Mr. Gonzi, the property owner, indicating he would only, to my understanding, only grant temporary use of the property, we looked at alternatives for location of the tank. The tank, keep in mind, is the storage for your, what I'll call your primary service customers. Your boosted pressure zone is limited to areas north of the school and up the Pioneer Trail. Everyone is on what we call the treatment plant service. So this is your storage tank that is fed from the treatment plant. There's a 10-inch transmission main that comes north from the treatment plant to your reservoir. So we looked at alternatives to relocate the tank. One of them was to the north, out of the neighborhood onto Crestwood property. So again, to get your bearings, this is Reservoir Drive dead end to the north. And then obviously you see the ball field here to the north, and we're on the Crestwood School property. And the neighborhood is here to the south. The location of the tank that you see here in conceptual view was done to meet the hydraulic condition that we need to meet. We can't push it this way, we can't push it that way. It would inordinately change the size and dimension of the tank and not meet the hydraulic condition we need. The difficulties with this site are many. The most significant is it's cost prohibitive. Again, because we're feeding the tank from the treatment plant, we now have to extend a water line from the booster station some 700 to 800 feet to feed this tank. And then the suction line for the booster station, which is back on Reservoir Drive, it draws water from this tank and feeds your boosted pressure zone. Your boosted pressure zone, and when I speak to that, let me show you the model. This is from our hydraulic computer model. This is a schematic representation. This is Reservoir Drive. Here's Bramley. This represents the booster station and tank and reservoir. So your boosted pressure zone is only this area up St. Joe's and up to Pioneer. Oh, and to the left to John Edward. They are the only customers that receive a boosted pressure. The concept, this has been a longstanding issue, is the low pressures you experience in the northeast quadrant that's encircled here in red. This is consistently low pressures. In fact, until we made some adjustments on the closure of the valve at the plant, we had serious violations here at the in terms of low pressures, in terms of getting it below the standard. The standard is 35 pounds per square inch, 20 pounds during fire flow. So we had concerns with back pressure and a lot of issues here. So our intent from 25 years ago to the current model we did 2 years ago for the village is to convert this area to the boosted pressure zone. Just so you keep that in mind when we look at these concepts. We went back to the site at the booster station to see if we can build this tank on the site. And this concept, here's the booster station. Again, Reservoir Drive is to the right. Here's the existing reservoir. And the profile view is what I want to draw your attention to. The existing reservoir cap, the water level is right here where my hand is, the water level. What we're attempting to do to increase pressures up here a little bit, is building the tank about 5 to 6 feet higher, increasing the pressure by 3 to 4 pounds. It's minor, but it's significant for the northeast quadrant. But the proximity here, the ability for us to build the tank here is not achievable without building a temporary tank. So we looked at shifting the tank to this location. This location pulls us away from the existing reservoir. It pulls us fairly close to what is the generator pad. This is the generator behind the booster station. And in profile, you can see here, we're going to put this on piles, timber piles. We are able to manage the grade between here and the existing, maintain this while we build this. So we don't need a temporary tank. We avoid all that piping and valving and interconnections during construction. What we do need to do is move the generator. And that's not so bad, to move this south to accommodate the tank on our site. It allows us to maintain, the property line is up here. We will need, again, with Mr. Gonzi's permission, temporary easement for construction purposes only.
Right.
Get this tank built. So the design team has put forth the grading and concept that we think is achievable within and or under the budget, because we would eliminate the temporary tank by keeping this in service and building this here, moving the generator. What we disrupt is the electrical overhead line, which you see in, not that one, sorry, which you see here. There's overhead electrical that comes into the site, and there's a utility pole right here. Essentially, look at this tank shifted over here. We're going to lose this tree, or maybe a couple of trees, large trees here. The tank will shift over here. The generator, which is behind the wooded fence here, will shift to the south, and we can build the tank while keeping the reservoir in service. So that is conceptually, if I may, what we're recommending to build the tank. Again, 43 foot in diameter, about 20 foot high. And in terms of grade, you can see it's going to be just like kind of like that photo in terms of how many of the panels will be above grade. 18 to 20 feet approximately will be above grade that you can see here. We've gotten to this point. I provided a report last week to Beth Mattis, and this is in coordination with John, who had meetings with EPA, telling her, she's our representative on the water side, that of an update. I gave her copies of the site plans. I indicated that the design team revisited these alternatives and that we developed a new site layout precluding the need for a temporary tank. I shared with you, and I think all of council, these separately earlier today so that you didn't have to memorize everything I'm showing you, but you have something to peruse and review at a later time. We are recommending this going forward, and given the status of our renegotiations with the county, with the village's permission, I would like to share this concept design with the county for their input, feedback. I mean, the potential, obviously they don't have jurisdiction or authority, but the potential is there. So I was, with the village's permission, I would share it with them for technical input and feedback. I initially met with them pre-COVID at the Mantua water plant when we raised all the concerns about removing the lid, removing the cover, and the collapse of the walls that are what we anticipate once we looked at the collar beam that's around this existing reservoir. The age of it being unknown, of course. So that's what I wanted just to overview with you in terms of the design. I'm not looking for any quasi, oh yeah, go ahead with it. I wanted to update service committee so that you knew where we were in terms of design layout. I'd like to share this with Mr. Roberts and his technical water folks to, hey, look at this concept, give me some feedback, and then in turn I would relay that to the village if there was any.
I have a concern, Rick.
Yeah, please, Mayor.
If you would bring up the blue tank that was gonna be on Gonzi's property.
Site plan or the photo?
The photo.
Photo.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my understanding from the residents up there, they don't want to see this tank. And that was one of the reasons why we got no easement from Mr. Gonzi permanent wise. So if it gets moved over to behind the station, are we going to be able to put big enough trees there or shrubs to keep it from view? Because
Well,
that was
yeah.
my understanding from several of the neighbors is up there, that as soon as I shared the photo with them,
Sure.
first they called because they thought it was going to be up in the air, you know, a tower. And they were definitely against that. And then when they saw this, then I'm going to assume that they must have gotten together with other neighbors and discussed that they didn't want to see the tank. So there has to be some way that we can camouflage the tank from everyday view.
So good question. And so as I mentioned, I was going for what we thought was best for your customers to service them with water, and that being raising the tank higher than where it is. Now, in camouflaging that size, that tank, certainly with budget, you can do a lot with evergreens, large evergreens, there's no doubt. However, there's nothing to say I have to put the tank at this height. If I made it the same level as the reservoir, it'll still be above grade. It'll be probably half of this height.
Right,
lo-
but then it
located-
won't give that oomph down to the northeast quadrant that you're looking for, right?
So
Right.
to the northeast quadrant, that lends itself to, irrespective of what is done here, if we convert that northeast quadrant to boosted pressure zone, which has been recommended for a long time, then we're still going to be fine.
Okay,
I don't know when it's going to happen.
right,
So I was looking for some immediate relief if we
Right.
could build a tank, not relief, I should say, an upgrade in their pressure, working pressure,
right.
by getting the tank a little bit higher.
Okay.
It'll give them another 4 pounds, about 4 pounds of pressure. That's not significant. They're getting 35 to 40. So we're talking about, maybe 10% better pressure, working pressure. It's something, but when we get to like a detailed design, we can lower the tank to the height of the existing by that 5-6 feet. Knock off at least the top 2 panels here, bring it down, and then really obviously build some evergreens, plant some evergreens, I should say. The best camouflage, because you're going to lose this. We're going to lose this.
Yeah, you're gonna lose that, and then the pole's gonna have to be moved also, right?
Yeah, well, electrical overhead was a minor from looking at the site. I'm sorry, I should have shown you on the site. All of the lines are on the south side. They're all over here. So we opted for the north for just the overhead. All of the water lines in and out of the booster station are here that cross between Reservoir Drive and the existing tank.
Well, I just wanted to make you aware of what I had been told and
Yep.
so we don't run into issues later. I don't know. Paula, have you heard anything from any of the residents up there?
No, that's what I had been hearing, is that they, they're seeing this big blue thing in their front yard every day. And the other point was that it appeared to be forward of the house setbacks that are normal on that road. So
Yes.
it was, and this puts it back behind the normal setback for the reservoir.
That's a good point, Paula, because it's behind the booster station, whereas the Gonzi plan had it close to the street, no doubt. Yeah.
Mhm. And one of the things I'm surprised to see that you're proposing pre-treated timbers to hold that up. Don't they have a life expectancy?
Yeah, a long life expectancy. Yeah, timber piles underground, driven underground. Cost effective.
Cost
Structurally
effective, I can
sound.
believe, but
Yes.
I'm surprised.
Yes.
Rich, just so I'm understanding it properly, in that new location, it's gonna be sticking out of the ground, what, about maybe 18 feet or something like that?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, about that.
Okay,
Look at each of these
okay, it
panels.
looks a little, yeah, I gotcha.
Each of
I'm
these
checking out
panels are about 4 feet, I believe.
okay, it's a little
Yeah.
small in the picture.
Yep.
And then you've got the
Yeah.
dome on it.
And then the dome's on it, right?
Yeah, that's the part you don't look at. The other, I think it's a solid plan. I like the fact that it uses the same site, that it's pushed
Yeah.
back a little bit. Like
Yeah.
you said, you get 3 more pounds down the road, you get a little more better water pressure there.
Right.
My only question is moving the generator and the booster station. What's involved in that? Just pouring a new concrete pad and having some downtime?
That's about it. Yeah, that's about it. It's coordinating the downtime. The generator, obviously, it's only used for emergency, but we don't foresee that. That's not insurmountable here
Sure.
and
Yep.
within budget.
Cool.
I like it, Rich. I like it better on our property.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wanted to make it work outside the neighborhood. It just doesn't, let alone trying to build access in and out. There's the ball field. I mean, if you look at it from Google Earth, it's the ball, well, you know the area.
Yeah.
There's just no a location and be able to access it, develop the site, maintain it. let alone foul balls that hit the tank.
There you go.
And I understood you to say, Rich, that we'd be saving a couple dollars by not having to put up a temporary tank then also, correct?
Yeah. We had 50,000 in for a temporary tank.
That'll
on
buy
the
a lot of pine
project.
trees.
And we're replacing with.
Well, let's hope
whatever
it brings
it
it back to the original budget, closer,
Right.
closer.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
puts it back to the original budget. That's
Right.
a plus.
That's closer anyways.
Right.
I like it, Rich. I mean, especially like Linda said too, like the mayor said, if we can sink it down in the ground, I think that would make everybody a little happier,
Mhm.
except for
Okay,
the
well-
people in the north quadrant.
My pressure won't get any better.
Would you be okay if I shared this with the county?
I have no problem. If
Yeah, I have no problem either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul and Matt.
I'm
Paula?
just trying to get some of their technical input. They operated your system for a good almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So they know it in and out, especially this area, this tank.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. The
Hey,
other
Rich,
item was
on
around-
that,
Yeah,
on that same note, what have you figured out what it'll take to put the northeast quadrant on the booster? To boost their
booster line?
pressure? Yeah.
That's funny you should ask that. So, so round 35.
I mean, if we're not going to be able to raise the tank.
That's funny you should ask that. So, so round 35 is before you. Obviously, I only have a few days if the village wants to submit a pre-app. They're due the 15th, and unfortunately, I'll have to do that without council's okay. It doesn't mean you're committed. You know, I can always withdraw it the next day. But anyway, let me. I had provided to the mayor and John some ideas from our capital planning worksheet. This is our capital planning worksheet that I.
Guys.
Yeah, we got it.
Yep.
I shared it.
And once I did that, looking at all of the options, John came back immediately, and I have to completely agree. Could we do a portion of a undersized water line, a segment of water line that needs to be replaced? That's undersized and underserving the residents and the customers. Hence the target, the northeast quadrant. If all things being equal and we didn't have the foreseeable agreement with the county, I would tell you, let's get the 12-inch line down Crestwood and get this connection with what we call as a pressure regulating valve that will allow this area to be converted to the boosted zone. And the reason the pressure regulating valve is needed there, and it's been hydraulically modeled and tested, field calibrated, is because the low-lying areas in here, the pressures will be, they'll be too high for normal service, particularly with galvanized service lines of potential disruption. We want to control, we want to improve the pressure, but we want to control it so it doesn't get too high. But as you know, you increase in elevation quickly when you go north up Fernway and up to the north. And then eventually when these lines are looped, obviously we're in much higher elevation. So what I did this morning was look at the identified needs list. The identified needs list does not include this connection because it's a new line. It's a new line. So what I did was take a look at potentially beginning replacement of a segment or portions of these 4-inch lines up here as a potential candidate. And I looked at more of a small sized project, knowing how much is already on your plate. You're doing the various projects, let alone not knowing where this agreement will end up with the county. So regardless of that, I thought, well, we know we have undersized. Let me go back to this. This is an interesting map we got from the archives years ago, and I'll enlarge it for you. So this is showing the Glenwood and Grand Elm 4-inch asbestos cement pipe built in 1955 that comes off of 44. And then it connects through an old cast iron pipe, 1957 to Ambler over here. So I went back to our model plan and which is here, and went back to the estimates that we have in here for replacement of those lines on Glenwood and Grand Elm. And they're totaled in here. Here's Glenwood and here's Grand Elm, including their service connections. We believe we don't have lead services there. But given the age of that area, if we were to pick, say, 1,400 feet of water line, Glenwood and Grand Elm, meaning this circuit right in here, not 44, avoid 44 until later. This alone, this is about a $212,000 project to replace the lines and the service connections to the residents.
Wow.
It's about 212 project cost. As something I picked, this came to us fairly short notice, as you may know, and only communicated back to the mayor and John last week. And then looking at this morning, it's the first time hearing it, but John's suggestion, which I agree, was take a segment of the undersized old water line, and that's on the identified needs list. So it's a double whammy. We're doing something that's on the needs list, but it's also a benefit. Eventually, these all have to be replaced.
Right.
They're all 4-inch lines that are 70 some years old, either cast iron pipe built in the 50s is very brittle, suffer breaks. And of course, asbestos cement is no longer in use. So at a potential 80-20 split that I was throwing out 20% of 200,000 or so is $40,000 local share, is what I thought of as a potential. And I know this is a lot thrown at you in very short notice, but we didn't have any time. And I quickly threw together the numbers based upon the estimate that we had already this is a 2-year-old estimate that I just updated the costs for, as you can see here, Glenwood, the 14 connections on Glenwood, 4 on Grand Elm. This totals about 175,000 plus design engineering. It's 200 and some thousand, and contingencies because we're connecting back to 44. So that's kind of what I've kind of suggested in the time I had available to kind of come up with an idea for a project for a pre-app. The pre-app needs though legislation, but obviously since it's due the 15th, I know we've got the villages, we've got a good rapport, good relationship with the county. If we're to submit something that the council elects to change at council, maybe they would allow me to change something on the 16th. I don't know, but they're due the 15th. They're not forwarded from the county to the chair to the district until the 30th of September. So there is a little bit of time there if they gave us a little bit of leeway, knowing that we hit the council meeting the same date. That's of course, I thrown a lot at you. If there's questions on this idea, again, John's hearing this for the first time. Let's see if that makes some sense.
John, do you have feelings on that?
I think it's a good plan just because we don't know where we're going. I would have went much bigger, much more money to bring down, but I understand where Rich has come from and I don't disagree. It's a good plan. it's conservative because we need to just in case.
Paula?
Yeah. North Quadrant had been addressed, had been worked on before, and it does definitely need something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have done it in 2010 when we had the money, unfortunately, that we turned back.
Hey, Mayor,
Yeah.
does the county, I mean, in your negotiations with everything, or Rich, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting you, Rich, that you're at those negotiations,
So was Matt.
have you, I mean, has the county ever discussed that 12-inch line? Because Rich, I know you've probably brought it up. I mean, I know you've probably brought up boosting that pressure,
Yes.
but it's not on their needs list,
No, it's not.
but they know that we have an issue down there or up there, right?
Absolutely. I shared with them the 2018 model report. They have seen this whole report. They've seen this right here.
Okay.
The estimates. So I guess I'm thinking if the county is looking at identified needs and not reaching for the stars, if you will, reaching for something that is an improvement upgrade as opposed to a need. So I kind of respect the fact they didn't put that on our ID list.
Okay.
But
So
one of the things they did put on the needs list was bringing the loop back down, because these are dead ends.
Yeah.
Right.
And the needs list does show a loop for $1 million something.
That's correct. That's correct, Paul. Yeah. So $1 million
So
plus.
that loop would help
Absolutely.
with the pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you need from us, Rich? I mean, you just are mayor.
Well,
does Rich
again,
need our blessing or your blessing?
Unfortunately, if I could prepare the pre-app for well, quickly, and then get it to council. You don't meet till Tuesday evening. I don't know if there's a way to at least communicate what the intent is if service committee is okay with this project. I can verbalize it, put it in an email with the cost estimate, so that maybe there's a. I know they maybe that's out of order. You can't really ask council to consent to something. Or I prepare it, submit it for the 15th, and then with the proviso that we may have to retract it if council doesn't like it.
Well, to do a pre-app, we don't need legislation. You only need a motion. Isn't that correct?
There's no motion in the pre-app either. There's nothing, there's no resolution. There's no, it's just like, well, here's what.
The concept.
Right.
Concept. Thank you. Yeah.
And if service gives you the nod to go ahead with this, then we can get a full nod on Tuesday night on it.
Matt, what's your feelings, Matt?
I like it. I just have a gap in my knowledge here really quick. I think we should send it to council. I mean, I think we should send it to council on Tuesday, personally.
Okay.
Just really quick, I have a gap in my knowledge here. I thought at some point, Rich, you mentioned that part of this or an option of this does address something on the identified needs list. What was that? Did I hear that correctly?
So the replacement of all of these lines in blue
Yeah.
is on the identified needs list. In addition, as Paul had mentioned, the looping.
Yep.
Those would be the new line, but as an identified need, all lines should be looped. So it's replacement. So what and John and I both agreed, if we're going to attack anything, let's do something that's on the identified needs list, and that would be replacing some of this water line in here.
Some of the water line in there.
Certainly do a lot of it, if you want to spend $1 million, but I didn't think that was.
And you said that was an 80-20, is that what you said?
I'm suggesting 80. I'm suggesting 80-20 after looking at the last time I looked at the water fund, when I did that analysis about 6 months ago. That was pre-rate increases. And and projecting the funds needed to fund the reservoir, the local share of the reservoir. So it's kind of up in the air, but I felt like you could easily afford 40. You could probably get to 100 grand local share, but the reservoir is not defined yet in terms of the 10%.
Right.
And I thought, well, let's just look at something that's a little more manageable. And I thought 40 grand, 50 grand local share was manageable within your fund without borrowing. In other words, no loan. We just want 80% grant.
Right.
Yeah. And we've done that. We were successful doing the 80-20 a few years back with a project, I forget, but so 80-20 is a reach, but it's doable. And water line replacements score well. They score well because we're addressing those types of needs on public water systems.
Rich?
So that's what John was saying. He wished we went a little bigger so we could go ahead and replace more of that to knock out more.
Yeah. John would do this whole thing.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I was hearing that correctly. No, I think it's a good plan. I think we should send it to council now and rely on your relationships and ability to modify this if we have to. How's that?
Yeah.
I totally agree. Paula, are you on board?
I'm on board.
Okay, then Rich, you have our blessing for the pre-app.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
And I mean, if we need to modify it, we'll modify it, but at least you can move forward. So, great. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up.
You got it.
Does anybody have anything else for Rich? Oh yeah, we do. West Prospect Phase 2, small government funding was approved. Getting bids this fall, start project in March. Need to approve work authorization for CT at council, see attached information. Okay, so we're on hold with that until council.
I just want to make you guys aware that Rich has put a hold on all work on that project, even though the residents signed that petition to get this project done. And Ben is absolutely against authorizing the 49,500 out of the 5,700 because we've already paid CT 7,400, I think, on that.
Mm-hmm.
And the original engineering fees, which include the design and everything but the surveying, because the surveying was done in phase 1.
Right.
So that's not in there. So you guys need to get this approved. This isn't like a regular OPWC grant where the money is released in the July of the next year. This is a small government funding. That money is sitting there waiting for us to do it. If we would have gotten approved earlier in the year because of the COVID, everything got pushed back. There's a good possibility we would have gotten this project done this year.
Right.
But because everything was pushed back, Rich wants to advertise so we can start the project in the spring instead of in the summer. So.
Okay. It's on the agenda for Tuesday, Mayor?
Yes, it's legislation. Let me look and see what number it is. Let me find the right sheet.
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
It's there. It's on there.
Okay.
It's 35.
Okay.
Because Paula made the good catch on it's saying the reservoir and something in the wrong amount last month.
Okay. So it's 2020-35?
2020-35.
Okay.
So we definitely need to try and suspend the rules and get this moving again.
Yeah, we do. We really do. Okay. Okay. Well,
quick question, just a quick one. Is there a phase 3 in the works?
No.
No. Okay. Not like east of 44 or something like that. Okay, cool. Just wondering.
No, because there was it was supposed to, we were hoping to have enough money to do from High Street to Elm. But we didn't have enough money to do that, so we split it up.
Gotcha.
And we're trying to work our way up the hill. So in this project, they are also going to be addressing some of the storm sewer lines, if I recall,
No.
between your neighbor and Tom Aldrich. I can't think of the new people's name. Longs used to live there.
Yeah, I can't either. Right.
But if it's my understanding, we're gonna get the right size line between Tom Aldrich and that up towards Franklin. So Franklin Street would probably be the next dead end.
Oh, so that line from there to Franklin is included in that, Rich?
In phase two?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, it was supposed to
No.
be. You better
No.
look again.
no, it's not phase two.
You better look again.
I'll look again.
You look again. It's part of phase two. I'll have to get out my folder and get it to Matt.
All right.
Okay.
And I apologize right now if I'm wrong, but that was supposed to be included in it.
Okay. Okay. Then I think we can get rid of Rich if he wants to check out and say goodbye.
Other than thank you, Scott. But other than just a quick, just learned today, the contractor on the Orchard Street widening uncovered a storm sewer we didn't know was there. Yeah. Am I right, John? It was, I believe it was an old vitrified clay pipe.
It was an 18-inch
Fairly-
pipe that had a 12-inch pipe stuck inside it.
Fairly shallow pipe that we're having the contractor replace. But we're able to replace it at a lower elevation to achieve what we're trying to do with that pavement. I think I'm correct on that, John, right?
Yes, it's an old World War II, probably WPA project pipe where they
Yeah.
hand dug it. That's probably what it was.
And Doug, yeah.
Wow.
Probably doesn't work the best, but you're better to replace it than take it out.
Right.
As soon as we do, some water will come up somewhere else.
Right.
Okay.
And we're watching the quantity and construction that there's some other deducts that this shouldn't be an extra. I don't think it's going to be an extra cost to the project.
Okay.
So
You're just staying on
we'll keep you
top of it,
posted.
or Brian's staying on top of it?
Yeah, Brian and our design engineer, Gene Arter, stopped by.
Oh,
They-
Gene,
They were
okay.
both out there the other day. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Great.
Now we're watching them. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Oh, you too, Rich.
care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for
Okay.
being here.
Yep, bye
Thanks
now.
for everything.
Okay. Ohio Edison pole banner agreement. Did we get that, John?
No, we don't have enough time in the day to do all that they wanted yet. So we can do it eventually, but it's going to take some time to do pole inventory, pole numbers,
Okay.
apparatuses, have to figure out what else we're allowed to put on there and not allowed again. You know, it can't be metal. Everything's got to be changed out. Yeah, this might be the proverbial, tail wagging the dog to
Yeah.
finish this. It's going to be a lot of work to get to it, though.
Okay.
Right, because
All right.
last month Michelle had recommended that we just sit on it for now because she didn't like the language in the contract.
Right.
Since then, we have received a letter that when are you going to complete this project? I mean, because they want a picture of the number on each pole, what is on it, wreath, brackets for banners, flags, flowers, all of that
The
stuff,
Christmas wreaths?
everything.
Everything.
The easiest thing would be to just take everything down.
Oh, we can't.
I know.
We need the wreaths and flags up, everybody.
I
Maybe-
totally understand. So we're going to have to comply, but then we also have to show proof that we are insured if one of our flags or wreaths or something catch something on fire on the pole. Yeah, it's become a nightmare.
Every town and village in this state does this.
Well, and they say that they're going to get around to all of them. It's just because it was. We were following the rules and said, contact Ohio Edison instead of saying, just go ahead and put it up.
Maybe we could petition a certain resident to help out with some of the more, simpler tasks, like taking inventory and taking the pictures of the poles and stuff like that,
I think it's not the pictures, it's the amount of insurance too that they want. It's a considerable amount of insurance that they want. They don't want insurance just Mantua. They want insurance the rest of their customers down and upstream of these lines. It's a way of them trying to get us to remove it. That's what it looks like. And they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, because
That's unfortunate.
what Lisa said was, say if one of our flags, we'll use a flag, went up and ignited a fire on the pole, and we had an outage in the whole village and Manaway Township and Shalersville Township, we would get the bill for that replacement to get everything up and running. So.
And there's a special line in the insurance policy to cover that we don't have.
I don't know if we have it or not.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
We've never had to have it before.
Yeah.
But it's like part of
I
Manaway's
hate
the
to
flag.
even ask this, John, but did you run into this in Aurora?
No, they as people make requests like that to them, this is when they attack you and try to get you to remove everything. So Edison plays hardball, things like this.
Aurora puts up lights for every occasion. I mean, they.
Correct, but nobody's ever questioned or went to Edison to talk to them about it. So they've kind of just let it slide. But now, since they formally had the request, they have to do something about it.
Oh, geez. Okay. So we're just gonna ask for forgiveness right now, Linda. I mean, is that what Michelle said? We're just gonna wait because she didn't like the verbiage?
She had said that prior too. We're going to have to start addressing it. So hopefully once our 2 new part-time people get started and functioning, I guess that's going to be, once we don't have flowers to water every day and that kind of stuff, they can work on that. They're 3 or 4 hours a day. I mean, it seems like we take 1 step forward and 2 steps back when.
Exactly. Wow. Okay.
I kind of want to beat this thing. Is there a way that we could find out if our insurance covers it, and if not, how much it costs?
I can give you the paperwork if you want to take the time to research it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, send her over.
Okay.
You would do that, Matt?
I'm going to look through it.
Good man.
I have a neighbor.
Oh
I have a neighbor
I know.
across the street that likes to read through legal documents. She could help me with it. She's not on the call right now, so I could. Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to be that. I mean, that's part of Manaway. The flags and the poles and the wreaths around Christmas. I mean, we can't.
I know.
We can't have that stuff here. We're gonna
I
be.
had a business question. Another one. How are the meters going? Meter installs, replacement.
The meter installs, they're having the pre-con meeting on Monday, I think at 5:30. And
Okay.
then they will start scheduling them.
Okay.
I think we have 2 or 3 in right now. We have, I think Randy Usher needed a new meter, so he has one of the new ones. I don't know if he's turned in all the paperwork that was pertinent that he needed to. We got a new one here in Village Hall, and there was one somewhere else, I can't remember where, that Mary said.
Okay. And I got a call this afternoon that they're ready to deliver 4 more benches. And they were hoping to deliver them tomorrow. And it would be behind the granary. And I figure if the service guys aren't available tomorrow to help with that, they could at least sit there until Friday. There's plenty of room for 4 benches back there. And they are in their packing.
How long does it take them when they unpack those and then take them where you want them?
There is a lot of,
let's say the last 3. How many hours did they spend helping the DMRC?
I have no idea because they had 1 bench last time.
Oh, I thought you said there were 3 coming last time.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fairly quick, actually. The main thing is, it probably comes out to about a half hour for that 1 bench because they have to unpack it. Then they have to load it onto the skids to the forklift and move it. And that's about it.
All right.
Where are these going?
These are going by the Grayson's old dentist office. One of them is going by the barber shop.
Oh.
One is going by Halet's, was supposed to go over by the Halet building. So they're gonna be putting it along Restoration 44 someplace. And then the one that Vetcheries have donated is going to the building next to the tattoo parlor where there's a red bench there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are they gonna level the one that's gonna be in front of Dr. Grayson's? Is there any level spot over there?
Well, is there any, when I was over there looking, and Amy Grayson had already decided where she wanted it placed over there, so it looked level enough. Yes, it's on a hillside, but then so's the one outside of any of the concrete bench outside of the barber shop is on a hillside.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, if John doesn't have a problem with it, I would say give the guys a call. I know that they have a catch basin that we had a complaint for, that the slats or whatever you call it were broken out and somebody was afraid a kid was going to fall in, so they were going to do that. He told me today. And I've had a second complaint on the weeds in the playground area and on the basketball court. They still haven't gotten down there. So, but I mean, they took care of High and Elm, that storm sewer that has been busted for 4 years. So they got that. They've been getting a lot of older things done as well as some newer things too. But yeah, see if they have the time, Paula. Wow.
Okay, so just give Dave a call. Is that
Yeah,
it?
just give Dave a call in the morning. Yes.
Okay, will do.
Oh, and another thing, because I know we're getting ready to wind up. When finance addressed the MOU, they did not, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, Ben refused to make a motion. So
Right.
nobody did anything, so.
Well, Ben said he wasn't gonna make the motion. I think he sort of sat there waiting for Tammy or Matt to make a motion.
And they did.
Matt made a motion and it didn't get seconded.
Right.
You made a motion?
Yeah,
Yes.
Matt did.
Okay.
Well, I just
So-
wanted to have full disclosure so you guys know that you're sending it, and I let them know that it was coming to you. You might send it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, yeah, we were logged on when you said that, so that was great.
Like I say, because originally I was thinking it was just going to be on your agenda and not there. And Michelle said,
Yeah.
finances before service. So this
No,
time.
it makes total sense. So, yeah, that's on us. Service kicked it up, so that's on us. The three of us will take the hit for it if anybody complains.
Okay, and do we have to do the USDA grant thing again, Matt? For service, we did it for finance. We need to let service know.
Yeah, we should let them know. I can share the letter too, so everybody can read it real quick.
Paula probably went to regional planning today, so she might know.
They didn't say too much. They just brought it up from the standpoint that there were 10 communities that were getting involved with it.
Yeah, well, we got the letter and the email this afternoon.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I was online. I read that.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, we were.
I mean, you guys are fine with me putting this on letterhead. I mean, finance is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
sure.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, Mayor.
Trying to think what else I have here, because I don't want somebody saying I forgot something. And just so you guys are aware, I think this is wonderful. We got that scanner that Eric Dunn, or one of our new officers. He's not real new anymore. He has scanned minutes and invoices starting back from 1918 to the 1970s.
Wow.
So we're ready to put those on the hard drive. He's going to start working on, he's going to see if he can find the ordinance books from that far back. Jenny thought they only went back to 1940.
That's cool.
So,
Wow. All right.
Does that mean we can get rid of the paper?
Jenny said, no, I thought if you had it on hard drives and stuff, as long as you had it. But she said no, so. Invoices we can, but not minutes or ordinances.
Okay.
Okay.
Well. Okay. Anything else for new business? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Old business, asset management. We're just going to leave that on the agenda and.
John's working on the EPA with that.
Okay.
And the other one I want to bring up is, on Canada Road, we talked about it at council, and it's unfortunate that it hadn't come through service before it was brought up at council. Because there were issues that needed to be talked about regarding the road. And I think we do need to address Canada Road, and I'm glad to hear that it was brought up. However, the section they selected is not dirt, and was addressed in 2013 with the chip and seal. And there's a lot worse sections on Canada Road and things we have to think about from the standpoint of cupping at the edges so the water doesn't even run off. It sits there. In places there's no crown to even help it get off. In other places, there is ridges along the edge that are holding the water from allowing it to drain off into the ODNR property. So there are a lot of issues there. And if you can't address the water, even ODOT says, if we can't address the water, then we shouldn't be repaving, because it's just a waste of time. So, thank you.
Paula, I
Yes.
don't know what section, I was out there with Todd Lamb. And there before Jenny's, east of Jenny, on
Yes.
that curve, in that wooded area where no sun ever gets to, and the swamp on the side, so to speak. It was pretty much down to dirt.
Well, it's no different than there is chip and seal on it. And if you really walk it, because I do
Yeah, I'm sure you do. You live out there. I don't. Yeah.
periodically walk there, and it's not dirt.
No.
And if it is, then the chip and seal, no, it's not dirt. But anyways, the chip and seal that was done in 2013, 7 years ago, and that's really what you're looking at doing again.
Well, that wasn't what Todd was going to do, so.
What did you say, Mayor?
I said Todd wasn't going to chip and seal.
Oh, okay. What was his?
He was going to put down a base and then put asphalt on top of it.
And then put, what was it, 485 or something, limestone?
It was going to be a double kind of asphalt, something different that he uses. But it wasn't just chip and seal. But most roads in the township, if a road that only has that many houses on it, Paula, most of the time, and I'm not saying that this doesn't deserve more because it isn't such sorry shape, would only be chipped and sealed. I'm
not saying, you can do the chip and seal, but I think you need to look at the areas and do the edging and look at the water issue first. Absolutely. Before you just go in and put a top coat on.
Well, and I totally understand. That's why John was having the guys go out and start digging ditches down both sides of the road.
Yeah, the proper application is to go into the ditches, get the ditches done. Once you get the ditches, put leveling courses down. After you put some leveling courses down with some asphalt, then you chip and seal. The road is
Well,
only
they also
150.
talk about you grind off the edges to make
There's no
sure that
grinding
the
on this.
edges are going down
There's
into the ditches.
150 cars on the road. With all due respect, 150 cars, you shouldn't do any grinding at all. You don't have to.
I don't mean to grind the whole surface, but you have to grade off that edge so that it doesn't have the cupping, and you get that, and it's not just filled with patchwork, which is what we've gotten now.
I think if you go to Diagonal Road and see what the patchwork works, what they do is they come in, they do the chip and seal, and they chip and seal, then they chip and seal the whole surface. It becomes even bigger, and there's also a little bit of a crown. And that's usually the process for that low volume roads. Because if you don't get in engineering all that, you get into a low volume road, which would be $40,000 to $80,000. You're going to get into $150,000 to $200,000 for a very small road. And I don't think that's fair with the rest of the residents, compared to the road budget.
I'm just saying we got to address the water, and if you want to chip and seal, that's fine. Put the layers down and you'll be back. And
chip and seal will last a good 10, 15 years. They don't chip and seal like they used to. Your chip and seal there is different. There's a polymer and it's called slag. They use polymer and slag now instead of the old, basically limestone that actually most of it gets off of the road. And they use a lot of asphalt before then. And Todd Lamb was proposing, to put asphalt in for some of the areas too. So it's just a matter of how much money we're going to spend on that very low volume road before we spend any money anywhere else. And that's entirely up to council.
yeah, and it's also, remember that if something happens on High Street, then it is a safety issue, because if High Street closes down, then it's Canada Road is the route around.
What is the proposed, where are we proposed to start, John, on Canada Road? I mean,
we're trying to do with the ditching first and do something under $50,000 to get a start, to get something done this year there. If not, we've got to bid it out and everything else. You're not going to bid it until next year. And maybe with the way we're going now and we stopped, maybe we'll just get the ditching done first and push it to next year to completely get everything right, make sure the water's off it, and then we can have some different proposals from Lamb once again. But for that road to go another winter like it is, and if it's a heavy winter, you're going to lose a lot of that road as far as we pushed up in some areas. Just be aware. That's all.
It's lost now.
so what were you were proposing, what, Pioneer Trail West? You were going to start working to the west? Is that what the plan was?
There's a culvert. After that culvert, the county is going to do that culvert, hopefully by the end of this year, if not early spring. No need to do that, because we're going to do that and we'll put asphalt back over that. And then from that part, work as far as the money would get us, the measurement with Todd. And we never finalized whether we had Todd or Lulai on those two, but they both were had issues.
Okay. So we're still waiting on pricing from each of them?
No, we have pricing. We just have to figure out the preparation, I guess.
Okay.
I know we want to make sure we have the ditching done. So we're going to try and prevent as much flooding. And as Paula said, we got to take care of the edging too, where it keeps breaking away. But
right,
that's above and beyond my expertise. And so that's what John does.
right.
So he knows, I don't.
All right, so our guys are going to go out and start the ditches.
Well, they've been doing some of the ditching for the last year. They did a portion of it in the section that they want to address, which doesn't have any residents on it. It's got woods on it. And then they've done another portion on the western edge part of the way.
Okay.
But on one side, because basically on the other side, it slants off into ODNR property and would run off if the edges were sloped.
Okay.
Yes, the person who called to complain to me about the ditching and I'm not trying to pick on you, Paula. They said, oh, they finally started ditching on Canada Road. And
I bet you I know that was probably Roy Peck, wasn't it?
They did in front of Paula's and Julia's and Ellie's.
No, they didn't do in front of Julie's.
Oh, that,
Nope.
they're just getting started. They're so yeah, people that have too much time on their hands, I guess. Why weren't they cutting down trees that were in the ditches and making the ditches bigger and always?
Yep, I know who you talk to.
Just tell the guys to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
Keep the water off the road. It's crazy.
Hey,
It's 1 square mile.
Some people, you give them a new rope and they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yep. I'll just keep saying it. It's 1 square mile. It's not that hard.
I know.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
I can't think of anything else, but I'm going to find in this folder. I was sure that they told me that line was going to be fixed between.
Okay.
I'll look tomorrow. I'm not going to sit here and read today.
Yeah, no, don't. Paula, do you have anything else?
Nope, nothing else.
Matt?
Nope, nothing else. I just want to say it is only 1 square mile, but it takes an awful lot to get it to run.
It's just crazy.
Crazy.
It is. It's nuts.
It's awesome.
All right. Can I have a motion to?
Oh, just so you're all aware, Matt's going to be handling the council meeting Tuesday as the president because I'm going on vacation.
Good. When are you
Well,
leaving?
enjoy yourself.
We are leaving on Saturday.
Good. Have fun. Wear your mask.
Always.
Yeah.
The only place I don't put it on when I come in the building, and I probably should, because I don't go in Mary Ann and Jenny's office anymore. So I talk to her through the window, but I have one here in case somebody thinks they need to come up and see me.
Just be safe.
I'm trying.
Yeah, but have fun. Hope you guys have a ball. Okay. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion. All ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
See you on Tuesday.
Oh, yes.